Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to FranTastic InSights, where we provide insights from some of the coolest people in franchising. My name is Alesia Visconti. I am the president and CEO of FranServe and Franchise Dictionary magazine. Now, FranServe is the largest franchise consulting organization in the world, and our mission is very simple. We want to help change people's lives through franchise ownership. And we do that through a network of incredible franchisors and franchise consultants, all who help their candidates explore franchise opportunities. Now, today I'm very excited. I have Ken Osness. He is the VP of Franchise Development for 1-800 Water Damage, which is a BELFOR Franchise Group. So, Ken, I know you've got your hands full. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Alesia. It's great to be here. Appreciate the opportunity.
We're thrilled that you could take a few minutes out of your busy schedule to come on to our show. And, I think one of the best things to do is, to introduce the audience to 1-800 Water Damage. We can start there. I know you have other brands under BELFOR, so maybe we could explore that a little bit too when you respond.
Yeah, great. Well, yeah, certainly looking forward to giving you lots and lots of information about 1-800 Water Damage. We've had in this COVID year, we're wrapping up a lot of deals here as we try to wrap up things here at the end of the year. But we're looking like we're going to have 80 new locations for 1-800 Water Damage as we enter the new year, which is for a year like 2020 was pretty crazy and pretty exciting. And we're in a crowded space. Obviously, there are a lot of other restoration contractors out there. The one thing that kind of separates us from a lot of the others is our parent company, BELFOR, happens to be the world's largest property restoration company. And so we're doing jobs, even 1-800 Water Damage guys are doing jobs related to BELFOR projects as far away as Japan, Chile. We're doing, the tsunamis around the world, the hurricanes. But a lot of our work obviously is just at the local level as a franchise. BELFOR itself is not a franchise, but BELFOR Franchise Group, or excuse me, 1-800 Water Damage under BELFOR Franchise Group is the closest of the brands that looks like the parent ownership group. So it's been an exciting year. We've owned the company for 5 years now, and so we'll enter 2020 with about 175 locations. And this year has been really a banner year for us in terms of development, as I mentioned, with the 80 locations that we're opening.
Well, that is awesome. And I will tell you, the growth and the excitement around the brand and really what you can bring to the franchisees is amazing. And when you look at a year, like 2020, which, let's face it, at the very beginning when, March, April, nobody knew what was happening. And for you to have that kind of growth by the end of this year is a credit to you and to your team. So kudos, honestly, for all the development and growth, Ken.
Yeah, if I could add, one of the things that has helped that is the fact that, we have 8 brands. And if I can talk about that for a minute, but first of all, the reason I bring it up is that all of our brands are service brands. We're all service franchises. And each of them have their own ways of being able to feed into the other brands. We're in process of onboarding all 8 of our brands into FranServe and really excited about that. We have 4,500 franchise territories in 55 countries around the world. And 4 of our brands, which would include ChemDry, Enhance, Hatch Boys, and Hoods, are all #1 in their category. And so each of those brands, along with our other brands that we have, 1-800 that we're talking about today, and then we have a brand called Z Plumbers, a pack-out company called Blue Kangaroo Pack-Outs, which those 2 brands we've just launched this year, and then our brands Ducks and Hoods as well, as I mentioned Hoods earlier. Those 8 brands all have a way of being able to provide referrals to the other brands. For example, a guy could be carpet cleaning a restaurant and overhear a conversation about, oh, I'm disappointed with my hood cleaner. The guy didn't show up. He didn't do a good job. And that can lead into a referral from the carpet cleaner over to our hood cleaning franchise. And on top of that, there are referrals that come from BELFOR. There are huge amounts of referrals that come into not only to our restoration brand 1-800 Water Damage, but also into duct cleaning. In fact, the reason why BELFOR got ownership or bought into ownership of our company began with our brand Ducks after we went to New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina in 2006, at the beginning of 2006, and we did huge projects with BELFOR on the United States Department of Agriculture, U.S. post offices, Tulane University, major malls. BELFOR fell in love with our brand because they were referring their duct cleaning over to us. That continues to this day on large scale projects. We had guys that sailed off to Japan to work on a cruise ship in the early stages of COVID to restore their duct work on the cruise ship. So all of those things play into each other. We're now either the second or third largest service franchisor in the country. We're actually buying 2 other brands here soon, so we'll soon be 10 brands. But I believe we're the only one that's actually operated by an operating company, meaning BELFOR is in the same business. We're not just, a private equity bank that owns us and says, hey, figure this out. Our parent company is in the trenches with us day in and day out, doing the same kind of work and providing the expertise that we need for that, which also gives us tremendous buying power for vehicles, equipment, everything you can imagine from a marketing standpoint. Because of the large scale of BELFOR and then the other brands, the 4,500 franchise territories, we're able to market those things together and really make an impact on the prices and bringing the vehicle prices and things like that down.
I was going to say, with that kind of synergy, how incredible it is for the franchisees and for opportunities between, as you said, BELFOR being the type of parent company that it is, and then of course the brands within the franchise group. So, really forefront thinking in how you're approaching things and going after market. So again, it's just wonderful to hear the innovative thinking that's behind the brands and the concept for BELFOR Franchise Group, and certainly, 1-800 damage, just really knocking it out of the park. So let's talk a little bit about, territories and expansion. Now, I know with all the different brands, each one has different territories available and different market shares, but what's your concept when someone's listening to all the different brands you've had and some of the expansion? Their thought might be, wow, is there any good territory left for me? What would you say about that, Ken?
Yeah, let's start with the most available territories, and those would certainly fall under the new brands that we have in Z Plumbers and Packouts, since they just started earlier this year. Packouts, for those who don't know what that's all about, that's when there's a fire or it could be a flood in someone's home, and all of their belongings need to be taken out of the home, cleaned up, restored, stored for a period of time, and then brought back into the home. It's a huge thing in the restoration industry with very limited in terms of franchise competition. There really isn't much out there. So that's a brand new concept that we have. Our territories are quite generous at this point, which is about 750,000 population for a Packouts, but that's wide open in the country. We have less than 20 locations so far as we've started that. Z Plumbers is very much the same. That does require a license or having somebody that has a plumbing license, but we've been able to attract a lot of plumbers at this point that are looking for a system and a structure to follow. So those 2 brands have lots and lots of territory available. Patch Boys currently has about 100 locations, so that means it's still wide open across the country. 1-800 damage, there is still tons and tons, hundreds of territories available there. Ducks has lots and lots of territory available. Hoods is one that's a little more limited. There's only about probably 75 or 80 locations left, but there's still a lot of great territory left. Northern California, some in Southern California, New York. Those are some places and some major cities that people would recognize are still very much available there. And Hoods is just growing from their national account base dramatically. And then with our brands, Enhance, there's still a lot of territory, but in particular, probably ChemDry, it being our most mature brand, they still have a lot of territory available, but certainly not as much as those other brands that we spoke of.
Well, that's great, Ken. And I'm very glad that you kind of went down that list because again, when you hear about a group and brands expansion, the way that you have and the growth that you've had, sometimes there is that misconception of, there's nothing left. And so I'm very, grateful that you explained that to the audience. And let's talk a little bit about what kind of traits that you look for in general for your franchise owners. I know you said, for example, on your one brand that they need to have a plumbing license, but in general, what kind of background, what makes a successful franchise owner for one of the brands, whether it's 1-800 water damage or one of the other brands that we're speaking of?
Yeah, the primary thing that when we started 1-800 water damage, the CEO of our company, a gentleman named Sheldon Yellen, Sheldon said to me about 1-800, he said, Ken, the thing we're looking for is I don't care if you find a guy out there who's built a $20 million restoration business, who has won every award, gotten every certification imaginable, been in every magazine you could imagine. He said, I don't care about that. What I'm looking for is I want to know, would you invite that person to come to your house for Christmas dinner and sit down with your family for the day? And if you wouldn't be comfortable doing that, you don't feel like, this guy bothers me or whatever, we don't want him. Everything for us is about relationship and about the kind of people, in most of our brands, you don't have to be, people always get this, perception, I have to be a salesman. I got to be really, really salesy. And as you know, even, on your side of the ledger, it's, are you sincere? Do you have information? And when you don't have information, are you honest enough to say, I don't have an answer for that, but I know I can call somebody who does, right? And that's exactly what we're looking for, is people who have a desire to help people, who like to build relationships, and we can teach them all the other things that they need, but that pretty much goes across the board. Now, keep in mind as well, there's also a misperception, particularly in a lot of service businesses, that we're looking for the guy who's the man in a van, the chuck in a truck, however you want to describe it. And all of our brands are really designed for more of a managing role, where they're doing the sales, marketing, and management, and then they hire technicians to go out and do the heavy lifting or the dirty work there. So it's more important. Do they have some skills from a business side, and do they like to build relationships with people? Everything else we can help them do.
I am so glad that you mentioned that, because I think there's a lot of people in our audience having like what I call an aha moment, right? Because they're listening to what you're saying and they get excited, and then they think, well, I don't really have any background in restoration, or, they just feel like, well, I'm not going to qualify. And here you just explain that, no, you don't need to have that background. In fact, Ken, isn't that really what the franchise does, right? It teaches people the system and the operation to operate successfully. They don't need to come from the industry itself. Can you expand a little bit on that for your brand?
Yeah. Well, that's what it's supposed to be, right? That's why people are buying into whatever the system is, because it's a transferable, trainable system. And you're not going to find, I don't care what service business is out there, I guarantee you, no one out there will provide better training than what we provide here. I mean, particularly on the restoration space, because of the fact that BELFOR, we're tapping into the same trainers that they have. The trainers that they have, who are all BELFOR employees, are actually hired, whether it be for software or whether it be this technical training, they're actually hired by other companies out there. Products that we use, they hire our trainers to come and train other people how to best use their products. So the training that's here, and the ongoing training, the ongoing support, is just unrivaled. I've been here for 16 years now, which is surprising. No one else will have me. I guess I have to keep staying with the same company. But 16 years, and to see the growth that we've gone through from one single brand in ducts and just building brick by brick to this operation that we have here, and it's just mind blowing what we do. For ChemDry, we manufacture all of our own products, all of our own cleaning products, patented products that we have 100 employees that manage all these kinds of things out there. So it's unreal what's really going on here through BELFOR. And when you're with a company that does $2 billion plus a year in restoration work, it also gives you the freedom to be able to spend money maybe a little sooner than you would normally be able to spend it in a system. What we've been able to do with pack outs and what we've been able to do with plumbers and even now with patch boys, we're able to act as if we have 1,000 franchise locations in the investment, and we're more than willing to make it.
Yeah, and I think really when you think about it, that whole concept of, as you said, the training, the commitment, you know, that's really what franchising is about, right? So audience, you think the slogan that we hear so often is, to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And you can hear with Ken, just the kind of support that you get. So this is one of the reasons why franchising is such a wonderful step into business ownership. And, Ken, I'd like to go a little bit deeper now and talk about one of my favorite hashtags that I use on social media. I think I'm guilty for using this hashtag more than even for my own companies, but I use the hashtag franchise strong. And for me, I am so passionate about that because it really does embody everything that we've been talking about, the feeling of family, of support, of helping, people look at franchise ownership that maybe want to start, but they're a little hesitant because they don't know how to open a business. And that's the whole beauty of franchise. And we see it, whether the economy's up, economy's down, pandemic, no pandemic, the franchise community and the franchise business always moves forward. So that's why Franchise Strong is, such an important and vital hashtag for me. I'd really love to hear, Ken, what you think about Franchise Strong and what it means to you and your brand.
Well, our company, I could name you, a lot of the times when people have terrible things going on in their lives, right? Cancer, and I mean, everything happens. Everything happens. It's there's bad stuff that happens all the time, and family emergencies and all those kinds of things. In fact, I said a while ago, I think the number one cause of family emergencies is franchising. Usually, when somebody's looking at a franchise, well, I can't do this right now. I have a family emergency that came up, right? But there are those real family emergencies that happen in the midst of the lives of these people that we're able to walk alongside them. And I think part of that is that whole essence of family. And there are, we're lucky enough, as I mentioned a minute ago, about how much money that the company, has at their disposal. So we are able to step in when there are some crises that people have, or maybe there's, they're running out of funds for something. And we can step in and say, hey, we're going to give you this. We're going to step alongside and we're going to forgive that loan or let it go, forego it for a while, whatever that is. We've had some franchisees that we've had to step in because of either accidents that happened or vehicles that broke down, where we have gone out of our way to go 1,000 miles with vehicles to go and help them get their jobs done. There's an example. This was a BELFOR example, but just to give you an idea of the commitment that we make to this, there was somebody in the BELFOR organization a number of years ago that actually embezzled some money from the company and used the money to build themselves a swimming pool at their house. The CEO of the company went and met with him. He apologized to the guy and said, we weren't paying you enough money. And the guy he kept his job despite what he did with the company. And that goes a long way in telling somebody, we care about people and we care about your family, not just, did you meet our expectation or did you hit our minimum requirement numbers? And so for us, I think the Franchise Strong is, are we there when you need us, not just when you're doing what we want you to do. And every franchise, probably, 20% of any franchise system is probably the bottom 20%, right, of their franchise system. Hopefully their numbers are good, but in reality, there's probably a bottom 20% that are those, what I used to call EGRs, extra grace is required for those individuals. And I think the strength of any organization is driven not only by your top 20%, but what you do and how you treat the bottom 20%.
Well, I have to tell you, Ken, I know you said you've been with this organization for a number of years. I think you said 16, if I'm not mistaken. But I will tell you, when you talk and when you're telling stories and about all the passion comes through. I mean, it's like it's brand new for you, right? In terms of your excitement level and passion comes through even on a Zoom screen, you know.
It's
So
fun.
that's a, you know, you can feel it. So I just wanted to. I'm not sure if you're always aware of that, but I can feel it, and I know that the audience can feel it. As I said, even through a Zoom screen, you know. So
Thank you.
yeah, it's very
It's a
obvious.
very interesting organization, and there's just lots of amazing things going on in terms of television productions and other things that the company owns, and the things that we're able to experience. We're able to do things like the Masters Golf Tournament. We take franchise consultants to the Masters Golf Tournament every year, and trying to reward those who've done, you know, great things for us. And we're delighted. I had an opportunity the other day. There's an opportunity. One of our brands that I'm working with right now, I didn't realize it was going to be the first deal for one of your FranServe consultants. And it just warmed my heart when I called and said, hey, this guy's moving forward. And this person started asking me a few questions, and I was like, oh no, I'm in trouble. And it wasn't in trouble. It was more like, I want to know, who should I use, or how should I deal with this? And then when it was revealed it was going to be their first deal, and they'd only been with you 3 or 4 months at this point, it was just like, you know, giving birth to a kid. It was pretty exciting, you know. So
We make a good team, don't we, Ken?
you guys get to, you know, you get to celebrate those wins every time there's a deal done, but we don't always, you know, it's not always our brand that's involved. So anyway, it was just a lot of fun. It was just a couple of days ago that conversation happened,
And that's really the whole reward, right? Changing people's lives in terms of franchise ownership, right? Helping people to live the life that they want and design the life that they want. So, you know, I'm excited that somebody went forward, and it was through our consultant, and it was with one of your brands. So how exciting is that? That is that is a happy family indeed, right?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, I will tell you.
Now if we can just figure out a way to get together and actually spend some time at Disney and do your big gathering there. Hopefully that happens.
That's coming in 21, man. We are planning that convention. So we look forward to, as nice as it is to see people on Zoom, there's nothing like, you know, big hugs and spending some time with the franchise family. And, you know, I really have to tell you, Ken, I so appreciate your time. It's, you know, I know, as I said, you are busy and it's the end of the year and we have lots to do before we wrap up, but it has been wonderful to have you on our show and for you to share your FranTastic insights with us. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And audience, also thank you for your time. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can get up to date with videos. And Ken, I'm going to turn it over to you for any last words before we wrap up today.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the time. And one of my good friends who used to work for our organization has actually signed on to be a consultant with your organization, and we're excited about that. And you know, we're just, if you're looking for a franchisor to hitch your wagon to in regards to the 8, soon to be 10 brands that we have, as you get a chance to look at more of those, I think you're going to find that there's nobody that's really going to be able to commit to the success of those individuals and put the time and effort into the training and the development that we can do. And so I mentioned we have 4 brands that are #1 in their category. We hope to make that 5, 6, 7, 8 with your help. And I just want to wish everybody the best 2021 they can have. And it can't get much worse than 2020. So hopefully it's better for everybody, no matter what happens. So stay healthy, and Alesia, appreciate the time.
Well, Ken, you are a delight. And I just have to wrap it by saying what I must say. Have a FranTastic day.